Franchise recap is on to season 17, a classic and a palate cleanser for the franchise, The Duel 2. Airing April to June 2009, 28 cast members set off to Queenstown, New Zealand for 10 episodes plus 2 specials full of challenge goodness, 300K up for grabs as always. There were no real evolutions here, just a move back to something familiar after the island's departure into Survivor territory. The only thing we could be counted here is we had double elims all the way through the season, meaning no gender days at the dailies, which hadn't happened since we went to split elims post Gauntlet 1. History was made, though. The 225th episode ever was this season. The 200th daily challenge ever was this season, as was the 100th ever elimination. And I love big round numbers, so sharing those with you. And some history he'd probably take back. CT was kicked off for fighting for the second time, a first in challenge history. Let's hit the CT Adam fight, as it did happen in the very first episode and had massive ramifications for the season, and then we will circle back to the cast, competition, and memorable moments. The producers definitely came into the season thinking Duel 2 meant CT and DM Part 2. Unfortunately for them, they were not only broken up, but CT seemed to be in a pretty dark place, as referenced a couple times from DM here. And I'm not positive on the timing, so I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but I think this was around when his brother passed away, so that situation may have been playing a role as well. Either way, he was on edge. He got drunk. I think the first night, second night, had sex with Siobhan. Everyone knew it. DM found out, and CT decided that it must have been Adam, who he'd never got along with on Real World Paris or in the Challenge House, who must have told DM. Not true, everyone knew, but the damage was already done. The result was a bedroom stare down turned worst punch anyone's ever received in show history. Until the following season, Duel, Brad, probably close, and subsequent chasing around the house, outdoors, cast and security desperately trying to hold CT back, him threatening to eat Adam's head. They were both kicked off the season. MJ and Nehemiah brought in as replacements. It's the most scary fight in the history of the show, I think. CT breaks a door, walls, a dresser, as Evan, a massive and very strong human being, says he's like a Wolverine that no one can stop. They came into this season with no Bananas, no Wes, no Derek, no Abram, no Kenny. So on the men's side of things, it was very much set up for CT to be the show, and losing him in Adam was a huge hit, but did kind of result in any potential toxicity leaving the house. And what came of the season turned into a laid-back, fun, little bit goofy, overall good time that you would expect from a cast headline and dominated by Evan, Mark, Landon, Rachel, Anissa, DM, and Brad. Let's get into the competition portion, because it was dominated by 3 people for the most part. On the women's side, just one person, Rachel. She was absolutely dominant, absolutely brilliant. Brittany, who should have been on more seasons, I don't know if she was called or not, but she should have been, kept up here and there, had a really good performance, but it was clear Rachel was head and shoulders above anyone else, and was also working tightly with 2 of the 3, even 3 of the 3 guys that won all of the men's side of the dailies. So she was never at risk of going into elimination, typically winning. If not, her buddy Mark or Landon did. She waltzed to a final and then absolutely smoked everyone in said final, men and women both, in one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen in the show's history. No one was touching her here. Those 3 men that were winning everything were Mark, Landon, and Evan. Now, Evan made some unofficial history here with the biggest gap between first and second confessional count cast members on a season ever. The most between first and second in confessional count. I don't really know how to say that. I think you know what I mean. I'm not sure that this is true, but its record is true. I am sure these numbers are true. Evan had 91 confessionals. Anissa had 50 and was in second place. He had almost double the second amount of confessionals on the season. So yeah, I think it's probably a record. And he was truly just the narrator of the season, the star of the season. He won a couple dailies, including the final most important one to get into the final. But he also won 3 duels, which was unlike any other season he was ever on, having to go into elimination a bunch of times. That secured his route to the final. Mark stayed safe by winning and being aligned with Rachel. Landon stayed safe by winning and being aligned with Brittany and Mark and Rachel. But then came probably the second most memorable moment of the season, and a huge sliding doors moment in challenge history. Down to 4 men left with 3 spots available in the final, Landon offered to go get a hat and paper to do a blind vote. And while away from the room, Brad, Evan, and Mark decided it was Lando going in. He calls out Brad. They face off in the game called Back Off, where Brad uses some creativity and somewhat, interesting judgment from the judges in flinging Landon's ring to give him time to hook his own, pulls off the massive upset, ending Landon's quest to become a 3-time champ in 3 tries in what would be the only of his 4 seasons that he does not win. Evan would then beat Brad by a literal second, jumping up onto the platform 1 step in front of Brad, who took second for the 2nd duel season in a row. Evan entered himself into the all-time territory with the win here and backed up a lot of the dominance he had in his first few challenge seasons. Other memorable moments included a killer birthday party for Easy and Brad, Landon clipping Isaac's toenail, which he took great offense to, the spelling error challenge, which was tense and hilarious, and all the romance at play. Jen, Rachel, Lanisa, love triangle kinda. Paula, Dunbar, Kim, definitely love triangle going on. Ryan and Davis, a little something. Brad and Tori still together on this season. Plenty of kissing and cuddling going down in New Zealand. It's a season I really love, and it's got a pretty kick-ass cast. Not all time, but certainly great. Sports side of things is compelling and fun. The show side admittedly lacks at times, but is just solidly pleasant, which was very necessary post-Island, mind you. I think this is definitely a good season of the challenge. I give it a B. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the upcoming Battle of the Eras season coverage. Tune in tomorrow to talk the most lopsided season in show history.